Now for the most famous words in motorsports. Now for the most famous words in motorsports, the Grand Marshal of the Bud Shootout at Daytona, Dick Pio.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
It's a new millennium and the first race for the NASCAR Winston Cup drivers. Daytona is still what it's always been, the place where every stock car driver hopes to compete. To win here is the ultimate. It's time to see who might be championship material.
We're excited about 2000.
Only one will win, but it's a safe bet everyone will be trying.
You got the win column, you got the place column, and you got the show column. If we can't win or place, we will put on a good show.
99 Series champ Dale Jarrett knows repeating will be difficult, but the team has spent the last 3 months getting ready.
It seems like Atlanta was a long, long time ago.
Today, Dale and 11 others will try to race their way into the Bud Shootout in the last chance qualifier. Next, live from Daytona.
Despite a storybook season that included 6 visits to Victory Lane, over $6.5 million in earnings, and his first ever NASCAR Winston Cup Championship, remarkably, Dale Jarrett did not capture a single Bud Pole Award during the 1999 season, which means he becomes one of 11 second-round fastest qualifiers who must race their way in today in this 25-lap Bud Shootout qualifying event. Jarrett's Daytona 500 pole-winning performance yesterday, albeit in a different car, guarantees him an automatic start at next year's Bud Shootout and makes him the odds-on favorite to win this one here today.
This is a second chance for the desperate drivers that got here by being the second-round fastest qualifier somewhere last season. 11 cars, 25 laps, 10 losers, and 1 winner. The prize, $26,000 and a priceless ticket to the Bud Shootout, where the field and the money are both bigger. The rules are simple. 1 mandatory green flag pit stop for at least 2 right side tires on lap 10, 11, or 12. Caution laps do not count and all restarts will be double file. First guy to the checkers is the last guy to make the shootout.
ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing welcome you live to Daytona International Speedway for the Bud Shootout Last Chance Qualifier. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome back to our continuing coverage of Speed Weeks 2000. Until a couple of years ago, the names of the fastest second-round qualifiers from the previous year were put into a hat, and one name was drawn at the NASCAR Winston Cup banquet in New York City to determine the final starter in the Bud Shootout. Well, they don't do that anymore. They race for that position. That's what we're going to be determining in the next hour, the 15th and final starter in the Bud Shootout later this afternoon. We welcome Benny Parsons to the broadcast booth today as usual, and also the newest member of our ESPN ABC broadcast team, Ray Evernham. Benny?
A lot of changes with the NASCAR Winston Cup car since the end of the 1999 season. An all-new Chevrolet Monte Carlo. The Ford Taurus has changed both the front and the rear. Only the Pontiac Grand Prix remains the same. And Ray, in this 25-lap shootout qualifier, will the guys use this as a test session for the new cars, or is the emphasis on winning?
Benny, the format for this race doesn't really allow you to learn a lot about your race setup. 10 to 12 laps with a green flag pit stop, put on 2 right side tires, 12 or 13 more laps. You're not going to learn a great deal about your race setup, but what you will learn is how good your motor is compared to somebody else's, and just how these Tauruses and Monte Carlos will drive in the draft.
Well, the cars are on the backstretch warming up. We have 11 starters, 25 laps, and just 1 winner here in the Bud Shootout qualifier, the first race of the new millennium. Back at Daytona International Speedway, we are live for the very first race for the NASCAR Winston Cup drivers in the year 2000. It's the Bud Shootout qualifier. Here's the starting lineup. Ricky Craven on the pole in the Midwest Transit Chevrolet. Jimmy Spencer, who won the qualifier in '98 alongside in the big Kmart Ford. Jeff Burton will start inside row number 2. Alongside him, Rick Mast. Kenny Wallace and Dale Jarrett make up row number 3. The 4th row, Darrell Waltrip and Stanton Barrett. In row number 5, For today's race, Dave Marcus and Jeffrey Bodine, and Terry Labonte starts back in 11th position. Now Derek Koch was going to start this race, but he's decided to concentrate his efforts on getting the car ready for second round qualifying, and he will not be in today's race. A couple of drivers have dropped to the back because they missed the drawing. Stanton Barrett and Dave Marcus will go to the rear of the field.
Dave Marcus was testing the IROC cars, unable to go through the draw, and Stanton Barrett had a sponsor obligation, so they will see him at the rear of the field. Pace car lights are atop the pace car, off the racetrack, just about to go green.
The 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup season is on. This is not a points-paying race, but it's very important to find out how your car will operate for the Twin 125s on Thursday. And already we're seeing some movement there. 4 wide, 3 wide going into turn number 1.
DW down on the apron of the racetrack. Right now they're 3 wide. Spitzer on the outside, Craven in the middle, and Jeff Burton on the bottom.
And they stay 3 wide down the backstretch. Darrell Waltrip to the inside, Craven in the middle, Spencer to the outside. They head to the end of the backstretch. And who's going to win the race there? Will they go 3 wide through corner number 3? Yes, they do. They're stacked up 3 deep all the way back. Wow.
I think I had Jeff Burton in Darrell Waltrip's car. Ooh, contact!
And Kenny Wallace, Rick Mast, in trouble, so Stanton Barrett right here at the tri-oval area. 3 cars involved. There's Stanton Barrett's car, badly damaged in the front end. Now, most drivers are not in the cars that they will be running in the Daytona 500, but Stanton Barrett is.
He just possibly could be. We see some serious damage to the Square D Chevrolet of Kenny Wallace. But Ray, when these guys run 3 abreast in the first couple laps, just think like something like this always has to happen.
Well, Benny, you're jockeying for position. You don't want to get hung in that middle. At that point, they were 3 rows, 3 deep, and what they needed to do was get out of the middle. Coming out of turn 4 here, the track has got some little bumps in it. There's a new shock package and 180-mile-an-hour wind. Imagine standing in a 180-mile-an-hour hurricane. So the cars are moving around a little bit. It looks like they just got together there, Darrell and Kenny, and it got Kenny loose.
And Jimmy Spencer, I believe, made contact with the outside retaining wall. He was trying to avoid Kenny Wallace, and I'm not too sure that Spencer didn't graze the outside wall. But you're right, there's a lot of damage to Stanton Barrett's car.
So the caution comes out. Here is the replay again of what happened.
Watch that big K marker on the outside. Doesn't he hit the wall? Yes. With the right front. And we see Stanton Barrett ran in the back of Rick Mast in the 41 car, Larry Hedrick's car.
So the caution is out here at Daytona. Now these caution laps do not count. 25 laps of green racing in this Bud Shootout Qualifier. We'll be right back. Under caution at Daytona in the Bud Shootout Qualifier, a crash before the completion of lap number 1. Now let's set the rules for this race. The field consists of the fastest second day qualifiers from 1999. Now the starting positions were determined by a random draw. 25 laps of green flag racing. These caution flag laps do not count. There will be a required pit stop between laps 10 and 12 to change right side tires. And all restarts will be double file. So they will start this race from the beginning because we did not complete 1 lap. Now let's take a look again at what happened in this incident coming off of corner number 4, Ray.
Well, when you are 3 wide at Daytona, you do not have room to maneuver. There's a bump right there for the tunnel. It shoots the front of the car up, makes you go out towards the wall. When Kenny's car shot out towards the wall, it looked like he and Jimmy Spencer got together, caused Kenny to lose control and started the incident.
Rick Mast, Stanton Barrett, and Kenny Wallace are those 3 cars right now, and Jimmy Spencer's car also sustained some damage. Let's go down to Jerry Punch, who's with Rick Mast.
Well, Rick, the car may be crunched, but you look pretty good. What happened out there?
Well, you know what, Jerry, it's the first race of the year. Everybody's nervous and jittery and wanting to go. And, you know, before millions of TV audience people and here. And I guess, you know, you just lose your mind. You know, it's the best I can say. I mean, we got 3 or 4 wide on the back stretch. They're beating on each other. We go in turn 3, they're beating on each other. We go in turn 4, they're beating on each other. And you can't get out of it. You got to stay in there because this is our hot dog race, man. And they finally get together off of 4, and they just get crossed up. And you know, I didn't have anywhere to go, but I think, come on, guys, let's run 2 laps before you get to beating on each other, you know. But they couldn't do it. So, but like I told the guys, maybe this is the end of our bad luck for the whole year. From now on, it'll be good luck the rest of the day, the rest of the year. I look forward to this race every year, the Bud Shootout or the qualifying race. Seems like we're always in it. It's always a lot of fun, but never got taken out that early here.
Hey, maybe your good luck will come back next Sunday for the 500.
Yeah, you know what? I always enjoy coming to Daytona. I always do fairly well here, and we've got a good car. The guys have worked hard. We've got a lot of people behind us, and looking forward to all of it, man.
Rick Mass, an early exit here today. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
Well, Jerry, Ricky Craven was the pole sitter for the start of the shootout, so obviously he will take the field back to the green flag when we resume. One thing to watch for, a little faster pace. Craven has told his crew he believes they need to work on the transmission and gear ratio, that basically he does not accelerate well at the slow speed he brought the field with to the green flag. So this time he and the crew have talked it over. He will try and get there at a better rate of speed and then be able to climb up through the gearbox and accelerate faster. His slow start at the beginning of this race might have contributed to those cars bunching up.
So, Ray, what would they do? Change the ratio in second gear for a better restart?
There's nothing that they can do right now, Benny, during this race. They'll have to build a separate transmission. Right now, you run a different transmission at Daytona, Michigan, Martinsville. Restarts and track position on the very first lap are very, very important. They need to keep that engine RPM to its most power.
Still under caution, so we'll get in another break here. We have completed no laps in the Bud Shootout qualifier. The 3-car accident. Back with more in a moment. ESPN welcomes you back to Daytona. Winston Cup drivers are competing in their first race, but on Thursday it was media day and an opportunity for some of the drivers to do interviews and get their pictures taken, but all that is forgotten now as the Bud Shootout qualifier is about to get restarted. Jerry?
And while we were in break a moment ago, Bob, Jimmy Spencer came in. Crew Chief Donnie Wingo brought him in. He was involved in that shunt just a moment ago. They came in and changed all 4 tires to make sure there was no cuts in the tires. They beat on both front fenders, and Jimmy says he thinks that the toe end is okay. The steering wheel is just out of line a little bit, but he thinks the car should drive okay. So 4 tires, some fender repair work for Spencer, and he's back out.
Well, Dale Jarrett, who started 6th in this race, right now is on the outside pole because the outside row had a problem with Rick Masters falling out of the race, and Jimmy Spencer has gone on the pits, which has allowed Dale Jarrett to move up right on the outside pole. That might be bad news for the other competitors.
It certainly is. If they're going to have something for Dale Jarrett today, there are 2 other former Winston Cup champions in that field, and they're going to have to team up and go after them.
Getting ready for the restart now as 8 cars remain from the original 11-car starting field. Jeff Burton there on the inside of row number 2 along with Jeffrey Bodine. Pace car pulls off.
And we can see that Craven already is trying to bring the cars down a little bit faster than the last time.
Green flag, here we go again. Burton way down to the apron of the racetrack. Again makes it 3 wide into the first corner. And he's going to punch himself out into the lead. That's Jarrett up on top, but Craven battles back in the middle now. And that's Darrell Waltrip right behind Jeff Burton on the inside.
Ricky's certainly not going to want to be in the middle when they get to turn 4 again, or we'll have a similar incident to what we had.
But it looks like they are going to go 3 wide through the corner.
And here comes Terry Labonte, one of the former series champions Ray was talking about, the Kellogg's car, up on the outside with Dale Jarrett. Oh,
they made it they made it over that bump. Now they're going to make it to the end of lap number 1, and I have no idea who led the lap. It was either Jeff Burton, Ricky Craven, or Dale Jarrett. They were almost dead even as they hit the line.
It's pretty impressive that 50 car staying in the middle of that pack all by himself.
And Jeffrey Bodine is taking the power team car to the pits. Look at this. Ricky Craven goes up on the outside and has the lead.
First lap lap at 167.128 miles an hour. That will go up very substantially on the second lap. Bill Weber.
Jeff Bodine on and off of pit road. New right side tires might have cut something after running through the aftermath of that earlier crash.
Down to complete lap number 2 again, right at the line. Jeff Burton with a very slight advantage over Ricky Craven. Waltrip and Jarrett running 3rd and 4th. And they're stacked up 2 by 2.
Ricky Craven in that 50 car has Hendrick power in that automobile, and we see that those Chevrolets are pretty doggone good. DJ, I think the 88 car back in 4th spot, just said, "Come on, guys, give me some room."
Ricky Craven was past his second round qualifier in 2 races in 1999 at Homestead and here at Daytona in the Pepsi 400.
Ray, why is Craven running so high up in 3 and 4? Any ideas?
Don't know exactly what gear he's got in the car, Benny. Again, going back to transmission and gear, and he might have to run up high to carry momentum, keep that car free, and carry speed down the straightaway.
Now Jeff Burton decides to duck in behind Ricky Craven. The battle is for 3rd position. Darrell Waltrip down low, and Dale Jarrett up high. Down to Bill Weber once again.
Jeff Bodine back on pit road, this time for left side tires. He has complained about an equalized or a flat tire. It wasn't one of the right, so they had to bring him back in to change the lefts. He's being held on pit road, probably for coming down pit road too fast.
Darrell Waltrip's looking pretty racy, isn't he?
He sure is. I'm surprised that Dale Jarrett in the Ford 88 hasn't made his way to the front.
Dale did win the pole for Sunday's a week from today, the Daytona 500, and his teammate Ricky Rudd on the outside for the 500. Starting positions back of that will be determined in the 2025 qualifying races this coming Thursday. And at the back of the pack, oh, they were going to go 3 wide.
Well, Spencer wanted to go 3 wide. When he got down to turn 1, Dave Marcus in the 71 car kind of took that option away, and we see Spencer had to back off the throttle. And right tell what happens to you when you just back off the throttle.
Well, you don't turn a lot of RPM with a restrictor plate engine, so any RPM you give up, it takes you a long time to gain back. And when you let off of that throttle, it takes you probably a full lap to gain back the momentum you had before that.
And we can see Spencer now about 10 or 12 car lengths behind Terry Labonte and Dave Marcus.
You see that Jeffrey Bodine has made his way out onto the track, and he's in the pack, but he is not on the same lap. Battle there for 3rd position, Waltrip and Jarrett. Terry Labonte is right behind Dale Jarrett as they head for the first turn. Up front, meanwhile, pulling away from the others who are running side by side, Ricky Craven and Jeff Burton.
The one thing those guys got to be thinking about pulling that far ahead is if they hit pit road after lap 10, are the other guys going to come in or are they going to hang them out there?
Again, that required pit stop will come through laps 10 and 12.
Oh, look at Dale Jarrett.
Oh, yeah.
He was about 15 car lengths behind last lap. He has closed up right on the bumper, and he's trying to get by Jeff Burton. Has gone by Jeff Burton.
Boy, it didn't take him long to catch up to those two. And now Jarrett putting considerable pressure on Ricky Craven.
And here I was worried about that.
Jarrett's run from Jerry Punch.
Guys, Dale Jarrett won the Daytona 500 pole yesterday, and he told me just prior to the start of this event that that car he had in yesterday's qualifying run was very smooth. He went in the corner, turned it one time, and the car set and turned. He said this car is much more work. He said entering the corner, I have to turn the steering wheel a little bit to the right and then go back to the left, and in the middle of the corner off, I turn it hard left to get the car to come off. This car is a lot of work. It's going to take me a couple laps to get accustomed to making that adjustment in this race car, but when I do, he should be strong. I think he's gotten comfortable now, and he's certainly looking a lot stronger than he was in the first few laps.
You saw that speed just a moment ago. That's actually a little bit slower than Dale Jarrett qualified on Saturday afternoon, and you'd think these cars hooked up together would probably run a little faster, but not the case.
Seven laps completed.
I think if Terry can get up to the back top of the 99, he might be able to push them up there and make a 4-car race out of this.
Looks like Jeff Burton back in third spot might be struggling to hang on. So here comes Terry Labonte, and you're right, Ray. I think that he'll get up there and help Burton, and they will make it a 4-car race.
Throughout the afternoon, we're going to be seeing some overhead shots courtesy of the Bud 1 Airship and Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. They remain the same with Craven leading Dale Jarrett, Jeff Burton running third, then Labonte, Dave Marcus, Darrell Waltrip, but those drivers trying to catch up to these lead two.
If the 99 rolls back to the 5-car and lets them catch up to him a little bit, they'll actually go a little bit faster. So Jeff Burton might be rolling back to Terry a little bit so that they can get some closer draft.
That's an awfully good point. Because together, looks like by himself, it looks like he's having trouble catching up. But if he backs up to Labonte, those two guys hook up, and they can probably catch these front two cars.
Jerry Punch.
All right, Dale Jarrett said he's going to come in this time. The pit stops are mandatory, 2 right side tires. He said at the beginning of lap number 10 or before the end of lap number 12. So remember, DJ and other guys have a lot of new guys going over the wall. 6 of the 7 guys that will go over the wall for the Quality Care team in year 2000 are brand new. And here he comes, peeling off. It'll be 55 miles an hour. As they hit the brakes hard, Terry Labonte behind him. Here comes Craven. They're almost 3 wide on pit road. Bill Weber.
Some of these guys like Craven have to come all the way down pit road, a long run for that. DJ's in his stall.
All 5 guys over the wall were former Rainbow Warriors from a year ago. Barry Muse the Jack. As they changed right side tires. Bill Weber.
Craven fast on the track, but his team now being tested on pit road. Can they be as fast as their driver? The 88's away. The 99 will follow. Long stop for Craven. He's the last to leave pit road. Labonte also headed for the exit.
Craven will come out in 4th position as Dale Jarrett got the work done the quickest, and he will lead the field back out.
How about that Terry Labonte? Ray, you and I talked about it yesterday afternoon. It looks like Labonte used some Martinsville-type brakes for this pit stop today.
Absolutely. Last year when we were here with Jeff Gordon, we picked a little bit too far up pit road, didn't have big enough brakes on the car. Jeff couldn't get the car stopped. Guys are putting bigger brakes on these Daytona cars so they can run harder to the pit. If you can gain 1 second coming in, that's 300 feet on the racetrack, Benny.
Darrell Waltrip and Jimmy Spencer on pit road, Jerry.
DW, the winningest active driver in NASCAR, gets right side service. He is down and away in less than 9 seconds. Good pit stop for the Kmart team.
And Jimmy Spencer, meanwhile, has problems. He still sits on pit road.
Meanwhile, here comes the field, the rest of the field down through the tri-oval, hitting the line. Jarrett with the advantage. Well, there was a mad dash to pit road when the opportunity to pit, and look at Terry Labonte.
That's what I was talking about. Look at those brakes. Look at those tires smoke as he slams on those brakes.
That was probably a little bit closer than Terry wanted it, but he really made a good move coming in like that.
Man. Looked like he was running 40 miles per hour faster than those other cars, and it's gotten him right now to 2nd spot.
12 laps completed for Dale Jarrett, and Terry is with Jimmy Spencer.
Well, Jimmy, not what you wanted to do today is talk to me before it's over, after it's over, maybe. But what put you out?
I broke the transmission coming down pit road. My own fault. You know, I couldn't win the race the way I was running. I said, well, if I have a heck of a pit stop and get 2 or 3 seconds gain there. But Kenny Wallace just on the first lap, I don't know, he spotted my total clear, and I was there. And that just messed our whole day up. You know, I feel bad for the Kmart team, and it's a long week yet.
All right, he's able to smile as he walks away. Bill Weber?
Vibration for Ricky Craven. He had to come back down pit road for right side tires, guns the engine, and takes off. Very disappointed driver and crew.
Well, Ricky led 7 laps of this race. He has led the most laps so far, but Dale Jarrett is now out front.
There goes Dale Jarrett. Now we see Terry Labonte and Jeff Burton have gotten hooked up. We'll check our monitors and see if they're will start gaining on DJ.
Well, the fastest lap that time was by Burton at 188.056. These two guys about a second and a half behind Dale Jarrett.
The only chance they really have of catching him is working together, because I believe it's going to take 2 cars to beat that 88.
And the 50 car, Ricky Craven, despite all the other problems, in addition to all the other problems, will be penalized for speeding on his pit road exit. Let's see how many seconds separate first from second and third. A little over a second and a half, maybe.
I would have to check that. 62 cars running together are able to close in on DJ. That time, that lap, Dale Jarrett got some draft off Ricky Craven as he was leaving the pits, and I think that helped him on his speed that lap.
Terry Labonte yesterday qualified only 38th fastest. Jeff Burton was 14th pit quick in the Bud Pole qualifying yesterday. Well, we got 10 laps to go. This completes lap number 15. Let's check the interval once again, see if it's, well, it's just about the same.
As a matter of fact, they lost 100th of a second.
That 88's a strong car. That's kind of bad news for everybody for the rest of the week.
I was going to say, is this an omen for the whole year to see the 88 out front? Down to Jerry Punch.
If you're wondering how the former Rainbow Warriors did in their first ever pit stop for Dale Jarrett, try 7.6 seconds for 2 right side tires. No wonder he's out front. Bill Weber?
Could be a triumphant reunion for Gary Dehart and Terry Labonte. Dehart back on top of the toolbox for the first time since leaving the team a while ago. Remember, this was the combination that took Terry to the Winston Cup Championship just a few years ago. Gary returning this year as crew chief, hoping he can celebrate a victory their first time out on the track.
And Jarrett continues to pull away from these two. Now 1.7 seconds.
That's pretty amazing, Benny. Robert Yates and Doug Yates, all those guys at the Yates Engine Shop, they work hard on the restricted plate program, and he's been the king of the engine program for quite some time.
Joining us, the voice you just heard, and a man who will be with us for the IROC coverage on ABC and ESPN, Ray Evernham. Welcome him to our telecast this year, and our ABC Winston Cup telecast also. Now a change for second position as Burton slips to the inside of Terry Labonte.
Terry Labonte did that. He backed off to let Jeff Burton get in front and see if Jeff Burton and himself could run down Dale Jarrett.
Absolutely, and sometimes when you go, again, way up high, come back behind a guy, it's kind of like the IROC cars do bump draft, and your momentum will push that guy a little further ahead. They're searching right now for a combination that will help them track down Dale Jarrett, but doesn't look like they're going to have much luck.
Great observation up there, because that's exactly what they did. They talked it over on the radio. They weren't catching Jarrett with the 99 behind the 5, so they switched spots to see if that'll help him.
And this is something that we've seen in testing and in practice. That second place car, like Terry Labonte, the 5 car, is not able to close up right on the rear bumper of that lead car like they have in years past. And no one really seems to understand why.
Well, they changed the noses and tails on the cars, and one of the things they're probably searching for, Benny, is finding out how to tape those cars up so they can properly cool them and get the most downforce on the front without creating drag.
Well, at least right now, the effort to catch Jarrett is not successful. It was 1.9 seconds last lap. This lap, 2.3. We'll see if that interval shrinks as the final laps are played out. 5 cars on the lead lap. Jarrett, Burton, Labonte, Darrell Waltrip, and Dave Marcus. Jeffrey Lamine 2 laps down. Jimmy Spencer and Ricky Craven. Stanton Barrett, Kenny Wallace, and Rick Masted all had problems. These overhead shots courtesy of the Bud 1 airship. 1,000 feet above Daytona International Speedway, supplying you with the aerial views. Budweiser, of course, the official beer of NASCAR. 19 laps complete, and it's 2.6 seconds now.
Oh, no. Jarrett is just driving away, and Jeff Burton in the Ford is not able to do much more than Terry Labonte was with the Chevrolet in catching Jarrett.
Well, they're trying everything that they can, but That 88 is strong. Again, Robert Yates has got a great engine program, and Todd and all of his guys have worked hard on the body. That is a championship team, man.
And one thing that Robert Yates, they went to New York last year and received what? $2 or $3 million in points money, and Robert Yates is not the type of guy to put that money in his pocket. He spent it, I'm sure, on engine development to try to find more horsepower for this year, and it looks like his money well spent.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of money to start an engine program, as I well know, and I know that Robert Yates puts a lot of money and effort into his engine program.
With less than 5 laps to go now, Jarrett is driving away up to almost 3 seconds, the interval between himself and the second and third place runners, Burton and Labonte. And there it is, Benny. 1.7, and they switched around, and it grew to 2.3.
And look at Jarrett. He's running around this racetrack wide open, never lifting off the throttle. And we can see that 47.7, 47.7, just how consistent that car is.
And that's the one that doesn't drive good, right, Benny?
Yeah, that's the best car is in the Daytona 500, right?
Remember, the winner of this race will go to the tail, the 15th starting position in the Bud Shootout, which is coming up on CBS about 12:15 this afternoon. And don't forget also that we will be back here live at 1:30 for the Protocol 200 for the Arca Bondo Marhide Series, and then following that at 3:30, the Goodies Dash race that was held yesterday here at Daytona. So you are in the right place today for all the activity at Daytona.
I'll tell you what, those guys in the Bud Shootout right now must be looking at the performance of Dale Jarrett and say, wow, we got to try to beat that guy in about 30 minutes?
Jerry Punch on pit road.
How relaxed is Dale Jarrett right now? Well, he and Todd Perry are discussing as DJ goes by what they want to change on the car for the Bud Shootout. DJ is giving him the water temperature, the oil temperature, talking about maybe changing some air pressure in the tires. The car a little bit tight right now, thinking about what might happen if they're in traffic. He's not in traffic now. What might happen if he's in traffic for the next 25-lap shootout, trying to win that one, because DJ will be coming to victory lane if he wins this thing, and the car will be headed back to the garage for refueling and preparation for the next 25-lap shootout. So he and Todd Perry won't be able to talk until DJ comes back in that car again later on today.
The winner of the Last Chance Qualifier the last 2 years has finished 4th in the actual Bud Shootout. The 98 winner was Jimmy Spencer. He finished 4th in the shootout, and last year's winner, Mike Skinner, also came up to finish in 4th position.
If you look at the front air dam on that car, they've got the complete package working for them. Not only, of course, the horsepower and the low drag on the body, but they've got the car balanced right. Todd and his guys have done an excellent job. The air dam's flat, straight on the straightaway, and that's speed. The left front of the car is not picked way up coming off the corner. It's nice, flat, low, and that's speed.
That's the front that Ray's talking about. Just how level, look at that, folks, just how level it is down the straightaway and how close it is to the ground. If it lifts up, Ray, that just kills the speed and it causes the car to push, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Benny. A quarter of an inch can make up to a mile-an-hour difference.
We saw that speed just a moment ago of 27.9. Earlier we'd seen that Jarrett was running 27.7. Ray, as these tires wear and get hotter, white flag is out. One more lap for Jarrett. As these tires get out, does the car slow down just a little bit?
Historically here at Daytona, Benny, it hasn't, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't know if this run's been long enough to judge tire wear.
Well, Jarrett has things well in hand. That interval that was at one time 1.6 seconds, last lap grew to 4.5. So there was no catching Dale Jarrett today in the Bud Shootout Qualifier. He's in the east end of the banking, headed for the checkered flag, and the privilege now of joining the others for the Bud Shootout coming up in about a half hour from now. Now, Dale Jarrett coming down through the tri-oval takes the checkered flag, and he wins the 2000 Bud Shootout Qualifier, the first race for the NASCAR Winston Cup drivers in the new millennium. Bill Weber.
With Todd Parrott, who's already on the radio talking to his crew and his driver, as Jerry was explaining about the changes they're going to make when they move into the Bud Shootout. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Picked up right where you left off.
Yeah, so far it's been a good week. If we can do what we did there in this big race, that was I don't know what you call them things. Is that a practice race or a semi-consi or whatever you want to call that thing? But the guys had an awesome pit stop, really did. They've been practicing real hard, and that's what won the race for us.
Extremely strong on the track, though, by yourself. Can you make that car better? How will you do that?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about right now. So as soon as you let go of me, I'm going to take off running to the truck.
I'll let go.
Thanks.
That's Todd Barrett. Never stops working. Can't now.
An impressive performance by Dale Jarrett, who has driven to victory in the Bud Shootout Qualifier at Daytona. We'll talk with him in a moment. We're live at Daytona International Speedway. The race is over. Dale Jarrett has won, and the first order of business now is a debriefing between Jarrett and Parrott.
You saw Todd Parrott in his head leaned in the window talking to his driver. Ray, what do you as the crew chief want to know from your driver at this point?
You want to know how he felt as the tires did get hot, Benny, as you asked, but you want to know from your tire guy. You want to look at those tire pressure buildups because that's going to tell the story. You want to know temperatures from the driver. Can you put more tape on it? Can you make the thing go faster? You know you've got to beat some a little bit better cars this race, so what can you do to make that car go just a little bit faster?
We see DJ getting out of the car at the gas pumps there. What they're going to do is put him in a golf cart and drive him over to victory lane, so it will be a few more minutes before he reaches that point and the point where we can talk with him. But an impressive performance by Jarrett. Burton finishes second. Third was Terry Labonte. Darrell Waltrip and Dave Marcus were the only other cars on the lead lap. Jeffrey Bodine was 2 laps down at the finish, and everybody else dropped out of the race. Jerry?
Well, 43-year-old Dale Jarrett, a 2-time Daytona 500 winner and reigning Winston Cup champion. DJ, you made it look easy.
Thanks to the pit crew. Yeah, they did a fantastic job. Ricky Craven was sitting there running a good pace. We had a good race car. Just took a little time for it to come in and air pressure to build up in the tires, and then once it did, the car was good. But the pit stop got me out front. I mean, semi-sailing, and then the car is driving well, really fast down the straightaway, and my job's pretty easy there.
7.6 seconds for 2 tires. You didn't have time to drink water during that stop. Now you know how Jeff Gordon felt all those years.
That's right. I barely had time to find first gear again. So that's why we got these guys when they came to us and gave us that opportunity. They do a fantastic job, and those are the kind of things that we look for to benefit us and hopefully get us into victory lane more. We got our work cut out now, though. It was unfortunate the wreck happened on the first lap because we had some good cars that got taken out there. It would have been a much better show. But again, my pit crew did a fantastic job, and that's what I'm going to have to look for on this next time.
I know you got to hustle off to the next race, but major changes. I saw you talking to Todd Parrott a moment ago. What will you change on the car?
The car's a little bit tight. We're going to add a little either air pressure to the right rear or something like that, and try to free it up just a little bit. It was too tight there at the end. If I would have had to really be racing, I might have been in trouble. So even though it's only 25 laps, we want to try to free it up. And since we're in the back and have to try to go, see what we can do.
Hey, good luck in the next one.
Okay, thanks.
What a way to begin the year, guys. The defending Winston Cup champion wins the first one at Daytona. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
With Jeff Burton, just in case you didn't know Dale Jarrett won, because you probably couldn't see it, could you?
He won pretty convincingly, too. Terry and I hooked up, and I thought for sure we'd run him down, and then he was getting away from us, so we switched spots, and he got away from us even worse. So you can say all you want about the Ford Chevy. I had a Ford and couldn't keep up. They just 88. You saw it yesterday in qualifying. They were really 2 tenths quicker than the second place guy, and they were 4 tenths quicker than like the 4th place guy. So they just got their stuff together. We got a week to go to work and get our stuff better for the Daytona 500.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Jeff Burton finished 5.16 seconds behind Dale Jarrett in the 25-lap Bud Shootout Qualifier. We'll be right back.
With Terry Labonte, good race, great pit stop. I want to talk about coming down pit road.
Well, some of these cars have got brakes that are kind of small and don't stop real good. And I drove it in as hard as I could and got stopped, right on the line there. So I was able to gain some ground on a couple of those guys. But our car was good. We just couldn't draft up on them, and the 88 was awful fast there. The 99, we tried working together. I let Jeff by, and I thought maybe we could pull up on him, but we couldn't run any faster with him in front than we could with myself in front. So we got a little work to do. We just aren't quite there yet.
Okay, a lot of guys look like they have some work to do here in the next week.
Well, the Bud Shootout now is the next order of business. That will be on CBS. Now, Mark Martin is going to lead them to the green for that race with Sterling Marlin alongside, then Tony Stewart and Ward Burton in row number 2. You see the rest of the lineup there, and Dale Jarrett, who just won the qualifier, will drop into 15th last starting position for that 25-lap event. Jerry has the man who will start from pole in the shootout.
And that would be Mark Martin, the new, healthy Mark Martin, able to smile at 100%. And Mark, first of all, your thoughts on what you just saw Dale Jarrett do a moment ago. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've been around restrictor plate racing since 1988, and I don't think I've ever seen that. So Dale was able to turn laps there by himself faster than a lot of us can qualify, all taped up and everything. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting here, the shootout, to see if he gets to the front and how long it takes for him to do that.
You won this race a year ago, talking about the qualifier from coming toward the middle of the pack. Your thoughts on today's event?
Well, this race is for the fans. It's all about the fans. It's for the fans, and it's the way that NASCAR Winston Cup Racing kicks off their 2000 schedule, and that's really what it's all about.
Now, what can you learn from this event today? I know it's a different car than what you qualified yesterday and what you'll be racing next Sunday, but you get to be in the draft with a lot of the guys you'll be racing with next week. Can you learn something today?
Very little. You know, this race is really geared up for the fans to put on a show and kick the season off. It's not really much of a practice or a test. It's very short runs with conditions that aren't like the 500 or even the 125-mile qualifier for that matter.
Mark, speaking of the fans, I know millions of fans sent cards and letters and well wishes when you had your back surgery and were off your feet for a couple of months. It is awfully good on their behalf to see you back 100% and smiling.
Well, I thank all the fans. I got tons of cards and letters and well wishes and prayers, and I thank everybody for that. I feel great. I feel 20 years younger now, and I'm really blessed because I've got an opportunity to work here with Jimmy Finnig and this whole Valvoline Cummins team. They've got this new Taurus hooked up and going fast, and I'm looking forward to 2000.
Hey, Mark, have a good year and good luck today.
Thank you.
Mark Martin back at Daytona, healthy again, and he will lead them down, but he knows Dale Jarrett, all these guys know Dale Jarrett is going to be tough to beat, even though coming from the back of the field.
Jarrett's car has made its way to the grid after having just completed the 25 laps in the Bud Shootout qualifier. Just as we were about to complete lap number 1 in the qualifier, this incident as Kenny Wallace was into the wall, that set off the chain reaction. Jimmy Spencer's car was damaged, out of the race. Stanton Barrett and also Rick Mast along with Kenny Wallace. Back with more in a moment. ESPN's live coverage of the Bud Shootout qualifier from Daytona International Speedway being brought to you by Fix-A-Flat. Spare yourself, get Fix-A-Flat. A reminder that RPM tonight will keep you updated on all the activity at Daytona International Speedway and elsewhere in the world of motorsports. Tonight at 8:30, Reese Davis has the report on the Craftsman Truck Series, which competes here at Daytona for the first time. He'll have a preview of that. Also AMA Supercross and report on the Indy Cars and the Kart Series with Robin Miller. Down to Bill Weber.
With Darrell Waltrip, that's supposed to be a fun race, but it was only fun for one guy today.
Oh, if I was up on the truck watching that race and I was in this next one, I'd just go to him, bring the car back in. Hey, that cat's on the road right now. That thing is flying, and I run alongside him there for a long time, and I thought, hey, this ain't too bad. But as soon as he cleared me, man, he took off like he had an afterburner. So anyway, I'm happy with my car. I had a good car. I was able to race and got off to a pretty good start here. Really decent pit stop, you know, and so overall I'm pretty pleased with what we did.
Okay, we'll see us Thursday.
Yeah, what happened over there with Spencer?
They all got together, and you had a better seat than I did.
Oh, you don't know, do you?
I know.
Oh, do you know?
Jerry.
All right, Dale Jarrett's teammate Ricky Rudd will start 9th in the Bud Shootout, and Ricky driving his first race in a Robert Yates car. You got to be awfully pleased about what you just saw your teammate do.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. Dale, they definitely had a heck of a race car. Dale drove a good job. So, you know, pressure's on me. I got to do it, and I know Dale will be coming up from the back, so maybe I can hitch a ride. We know we can get through that traffic.
Could you two work on what you might be able to work on next Sunday in the 500 when you start side by side on the front row?
Well, I think for sure we're going to try to work together. You know, Dale's out here to try to win the race. I'm out here to try to win the race. But in the early stages, if we can use each other, I'm sure we're going to do it to both our advantages.
Hey, good luck to you.
Thanks, Jerry.
Ricky Rudd starts middle of the pack. Dale Jarrett will come from the very rear of the Bud Shootout, but they'll be teammates before this one's over here today.
Well, Dale Jarrett wins the Bud Shootout qualifier. There were 4 different leaders, and a reminder that at 1:30 this afternoon, back here live at Daytona, we'll have coverage of the Protocol ARCA 200. And then after that, we will have the Goodies Dash Race, so an afternoon of competition.
And I tell you what, in the ARCA race, we're not going to see those cars running nose to tail. They're going to be trying to pass each other. a bunch of inexperienced race car drivers, and it's always a very, very exciting race.
Again, here's a look at the lineup for the Bud Shootout, which will be next over on CBS. If you'd like to watch it there, Mark Martin has the pole position for that race.
I want to thank you guys for inviting me up. There's only seems to be two things I can do in life, race or talk about it. So thanks for giving me the chance to sit up here and talk about it.
Our pleasure, Ray.
And the rookie stripes are off the microphone, and Ray will be with us again for our ABC coverage of NASCAR Winston Cup races and the IROC Series for the year 2000. Well, can Jarrett drive from the back of the pack and win the shootout, BP?
Yes, he definitely can. What we saw in this Bud Shootout qualifier, he definitely can.
At Daytona, each February, winter's grayness fades when a special racing season bursts into life. It's the start of a new NASCAR season, and for last year's fastest drivers, it's the time for the Bud Shootout.
Mark Martin with his first Daytona victory, winning the Bud Shootout.
99 shootout winner Mark Martin looks to repeat. Challenging Martin, a familiar face with new crew, new questions, no excuses. For Jeff Gordon, he expects to win. Second in last season's standings, Bobby Labonte wants to start this season off with a victory today. And oh yeah, teammate Tony Stewart, he's no rookie anymore. 15 stock car superstars, 25 laps, over $500,000 in this dash for cash. We're ready to jumpstart Speed Weeks 2000, the first NASCAR Winston race of the new millennium. Ready to go green on a beautiful day filled with promise. The question for the thousands here, who will reach Daytona's promised land, victory lane in this intense sprint race? A lot of great talent like Mark Martin, who won it a year ago, coming from the pole. And how about Tony Stewart in the second row? And a couple of two-time winners here. On the left, you see Schrader and Gordon beside him. And this is the man everybody's talking about. He's just won the consolation race by over 4 seconds. That is Dale Jarrett. He'll come from dead last in this event. And a good day, everyone. Ken Squire here, and welcome to this all-star event featuring the fastest from 1999 pole position qualifying. It's the first fender-to-fender fracas of the season, and the luck of the draw has established the field, plus Dale Jarrett. 15 cars, 25 laps, 62.5 miles for $100,000 to the winner. There you see the Bud Shootout story. The length, 62.5 miles. That's all there is here. That mandatory pit stop will be a big part of this race. It was 7.6 seconds, by which Dale Jarrett made that pit stop that turned it all around. And here is the field. 14 1999 Bud Pole winners, the guys that came out on top. Highlights from the race just won by Dale Jarrett. This in lap number 1. The yellow car, yellow and blue, that is Kenny Wallace in the wall. He takes Spencer with him. They both bounce off and collect. Rick Mast in the yellow car, Stanton Barrett in the middle of the track. Those three eliminated. This is the car that just stuck it to him. Dale Jarrett winning, successful in this consolation round. He'll be the man to watch, and with him right now is Ralph Shaheen.
Ken, as you said, that pit stop is what got Dale Jarrett out in front of the qualifying race. But Dale, once you got out front, what was really amazing was how this car kept picking up 2/3 of a second every lap by itself. We haven't seen that here in Daytona in years without drafting help. Can you do that again now in the shootout, and did you make any changes in between?
We made a couple of changes. The car was pretty good, but a little on the tight side, so we made some adjustments there to try to free the car up a little bit. this is going to be a different story starting back here, and these guys, a lot of good race cars here, so we'll have our work cut out. Yeah, it'd be pretty amazing if we could get to the front. If my pit crew does the same type job that they did the last time, that's going to make up a lot of spots in the pits. So we've got a shot at them, but we'll just have to see how everything goes. Got a fast race car, just have to be smart with it.
Nobody has ever won this race from the 15th starting position. Now let's check in with my colleague on pit road, the man in charge of Speedway Illustrated magazine, Dick Berggren.
Thanks, Ralph. This is one tough race. Just ask Jeff Gordon. He was in contention to win this thing the last 2 years in a row. 2 years ago, transmission trouble, lost it. Last year, slid through his pits, lost it. Can you make any mistake in this shootout and still win?
No, that's what I told my guys before this. Before we came out here. I said, hey, we just can't make any mistakes because I've pretty much lost this race the last 2 years in a row for us, and I don't want that to happen again. We've had great race cars and a real opportunity to win this race several times, and we'd like to do it again. And hopefully I can just keep everything smooth, get in that lead pack, come in, make a great pit stop, and go out there and try to pull away.
Now, Ricky Rudd will tell you how tough this race is, too. 1984, end over end, side over side. He's been here 11 times. Fifth is his best finish ever. But you got a great car. Can you win this thing today?
Well, Dick, I think we got the equipment sitting there. I just hope we made the right adjustments during the week. And it's a fast race car, no doubt, and definitely the best ride I've ever sat in here at Daytona in quite some time for the shootout. So we'll have to see. I'm sitting right next to a guy that's always run good here. Maybe try to follow him.
Let's go to Ken Squire. 15 stock car superstars are strapping in for the 22nd annual shootout here at Daytona. And welcome back to the Bud Shootout, part of Speed Weeks 2000 at Daytona, presented by Fritos. A quick look at the weather today. You could not have it better than what we're experiencing. Temperature in the low 70s and no wind. Big difference from yesterday at pole position qualifying time. Well, let's go topside with the folks that will be making the call on today's race with Ned Jarrett, Buddy Baker, and here's Mike Joy.
Thanks, Ken, and hello, everyone. This is the first wheel-to-wheel action of Winston Cup style for Speed Weeks 2000. Well, Buddy Baker, to you in a moment, but we're going to go trackside to get the command and get all these fans and these 15 cars fired up.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
This race began in 1979 as the Busch Clash. Buddy Baker led all but 2 laps and won it. How hard is this race to win? How easy is it to lose?
Well, Mike, I'll talk about winning first. You leave nothing on the table. In 1979, I had a great race car. Was able to lead most of the race. Darrell Waltrip was the only car that passed me. I dominated that race. A little while later, I led 19 of 20 laps. It used to be 20 laps. Now you have a mandatory pit stop. That comes into play. But on the very last lap, down the back straightaway, the great Neil Bonnet went by me, and it was adios. So you never have it locked up.
Strategy?
Wide open, half turned over.
Ned Jarrett, this is a big race. Over $500,000 is at stake, but everyone's eye here is on the big prize, the Daytona 500 next Sunday. What can these drivers and crews of these 15 cars learn that will help them a week from today?
Mike, it's the first time that they've actually been in competition here. You know, yesterday was qualifying. Most of the preparation had been towards trying to get their car to go fast for one lap. But now the conditions will be closer to the Daytona 500, running in actual competition with other brands of cars, see how it works in the draft among other cars. So I think they can learn a lot here today that can apply to the Daytona 500.
Chevy, Ford, or Pontiac, there are 5 of each in this field, and we'll find out when we look at the starting lineup here at Daytona right after this. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Let's have a look at the starting grid for the 22nd annual Bud Shootout. There's the pole sitter, Mark Martin, making his 13th appearance in the shootout. He won it last year. Sterling Marlin finished second in this race in 1995 and 6. In row 2, last year's Rookie of the Year, Tony Stewart, along with Michigan pole winner Ward Burton. In row 3, 2 pole winners last year. That's Mike Skinner, who finished 4th in this race, and Jeff Gordon, a 2-time winner of the shootout. In row 4, Bobby Labonte had 5 poles last year. And David Green, who scored his first career pole at Miami Homestead. Some folks think this could be the Rudd Shootout. He won a pole at Rockingham last February. He's in this race for the 12th time. Ken Schrader won it in '89 and '90. Row 6, Kevin LePage. Last race of the year in Atlanta, he got his first career pole. And front row Joe Nemechek, the pole sitter here at Daytona last July. Kenny Irwin on the pole at Texas last spring. It's his second start in this race, and it's the 14th appearance for Rusty Wallace, shootout winner 2 years ago. And watch Dale Jarrett to come from the rear as he just dominated the field in the Bud Shootout qualifier about 30 minutes ago. CBS Sports coverage of the 2000 Bud Shootout continues after this message and a word from your local CBS station. 2 pace laps and we'll be racing. Dale Jarrett's crew huddled up. They have to change 2 tires under green. That's an integral part of the competition here in the Bud Shootout. And the new Rainbow Warriors for Jeff Gordon.
This is a 2.5-mile racetrack, a tri-oval, 31-degree banking in the turns, 18 degrees at the start-finish line, and the backstretch is relatively flat at 6 degrees.
Well, if you like Chevrolet, Pontiac, or Ford, you can see they're equal in this field, 5, 5, and 5. That's the manufacturer's breakdown.
We'll have CBS race cams on board 5 cars in the shootout. Tony Stewart, that Joe Gibbs Racing Pontiac, last year's Rookie of the Year, will start 3rd, looking ahead at Mark Martin and the pace car. Our Lowe's onboard camera rides with Mike Skinner in his Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet, starting 5th, looking dead ahead of Tony Stewart. And right alongside Skinner, Jeff Gordon, defending champion of the Daytona 500, starting 6th in his Rick Hendricks Chevrolet. Our Circuit City camera rides with Bobby Labonte in his Joe Gibbs Racing Pontiac. Looking at Mike Skinner, Labonte starts 7th. And one of the happiest faces in Speed Week is inside that white helmet. That's Ricky Rudd, now driving for Robert Yates. And his Ford Taurus will start 9th. Ken Squire?
6-time winner in 1999 in the Exide Ford number 99. That Jeff Burton is here with us today, besides the fact that this fella Jarrett seems to have brought a grizzly bear to a lawn party out here, the way he went through that qualifying race. What did you learn?
Well, I think we learned a lot. This is the first race with the new rules. NASCAR has mandated the shocks. They've mandated the rear springs, which means that everybody has all the same shocks. This was the first event that we had under those conditions. I think we all learned a lot. But the one thing we learned we didn't like was the 88 was too fast for us.
Why is he so much quicker, Yates motor?
Well, that's a good question. You know, to run well at Daytona, as anywhere, you've got to have everything. You've got to have horsepower, you've got to have the body, you've got to have a handling characteristic. It takes it all. It's not just one thing.
And he had an incredible pit stop in 7 6/10 seconds to change those 2 tires. Great pit crew. All right, let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Ken, a little bit of a different theory as far as engine combinations with the Yates teams here for the shootout. Now, the 28 car of Ricky Rudd, they're actually running the same engine that they qualified with yesterday. However, the Dale Jarrett car is not. They're going with a different racing engine. To Dick Burton.
Thanks, Ralph. One of the familiar teams in today's event has an awful lot new going on. Jeff Gordon has a new crew chief, a new team over the wall servicing the car. It's a brand new car, a new paint scheme. Even his spotter is new. There's a lot on the line. This is the first time all this newness has been tried in an actual race. Mike?
That's the thing about coming to Daytona every February. Even everything old is new again. That paint job they'll run here this week, both for the shootout and for the Daytona 500, and then revert to their more familiar colors.
About almost half of the cars that were entered in the Daytona 500 have a change of some sort, whether it's a paint scheme, sponsor, crew chief, driver change, a lot of different things.
Just like Mark Martin's car, more white on it this year. All of them have changed a little bit, and for good reason. They're going into a brand new season, and you like a little different look. Other than DJ, he stayed just exactly like he's been.
I guess we're pretty well satisfied the way things were last year, and decided to leave well enough alone.
Getting set for the start of the Bud Shootout. To review the rules, 25 green flag laps. If there's a caution flag, they do not race back to the start-finish line. They revert to the last completed lap. After lap 9 is completed, at any time between laps 10, 11, and 12, Each driver must make a pit stop and change 2 tires under the green flag. If they make the stop and the caution comes out on that lap, it doesn't count, and they'll have to do it again under green. 25 laps, first man home is the winner. Front row, Mark Martin, Sterling Marlin. Only once in the last 12 years of this race has a front row sitter failed to lead the first lap.
Well, we're about to get it on.
And the moment that fans have waited for since November. Speed Weeks at Daytona, and the first green flag of Winston Cup competition is in the air. We're underway in the Bud Shootout.
Well, it's going to take them all the way to the first corner to go 3 wide. Look at that second group there, just behind the leaders there. 3 wide as they head into turn 1.
It's similar to the way they did in the qualifying race, and they didn't get back to the start-finish line before they wrecked.
Mike Skinner went up there and almost hit the back of Jeff Gordon as he gave him a little push down through there. Jeff Gordon running very well in 3rd spot.
And look at Tony Stewart get squeezed right out of the middle.
Right up in the middle of that pack. That's the place you don't want to be.
Tony Stewart is right in the middle as they train around both sides. He finds a home on the bottom. And look, it's Mark Martin, the pole sitter, who is shuffled back to midfield. Who will lead the first lap?
Jeff Gordon, it looks like to me, is going to get it.
Make that the second time in 12 years that a front row starter has not led the first lap. Dale Jarrett's gained 1 position. Kenny Irwin.
Traffic very heavy back there. There they are 3 wide again. It's Wardburton up on the outside in the yellow and white car. His car has been yellow and black in the past.
And the new driver, that 33 this year, Joni Machado. Up front, Mike Skinner, the only Chevrolet in the top 10 in yesterday's Daytona 500 qualifying run, second.
Look at Ricky Rudd moving up on the outside of Bobby Labonte, trying to take over the 3rd position.
Yeah, that was a power move. He started that move going into turn 3 and just motored by on the outside. He's up there right behind Mike Skinner. Now you can see Bobby Labonte fighting back on the inside in that green car.
Rudd leading the outside draft out of turn 1. Started ninth, now running, well, either 3rd or 4th, depending on which inch we're at.
Right now he's 4th, and the 20 car of Tony Stewart now got down on the inside groove, and he's following his teammate Bobby Labonte.
Those 2 Pontiacs hook up. Gordon moves to the outside to block.
Yeah, and that just tells you what teamwork is, because Tony Stewart had dropped all the way to the back of the field almost, got a good draft, got back on the outside there and made up a lot of time, but he's dropping back just a little bit. It looks like right now the first 2 cars are beginning to inch away.
On the inside, Mike Skinner, 31, trying to haul pole sitter Mark Martin up toward the front. But that outside line is hooked up very tightly. Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, Kenny Schrader, I should say, in the 36 car, got to get all these new names and numbers together, was a little concerned about his oil pressure at the start of this race. It has finally come up. He says, now over the radio, I'm not worried about my oil pressure. Now I'm just worried about my blood pressure.
I don't blame him. Stewart looks to the inside on Jeff Gordon. 2 former open wheel stars go at it for the lead.
Well, there was a lot of concern and speculation in the garage area how much sandbagging, if any, was going on with the Joe Gibbs racing team. They didn't qualify very well for the Daytona 500, but they raced so well near the end of the year last year, winning 3 out of the last 4 races. Now Tony Stewart is showing that muscle in the Pontiac once again.
But Ned, he's lost his teammate. The green car, Bobby Labonte, back in 5th place, is Stewart's teammate. And so now that team, for the moment, is split up on the racetrack.
Yeah, but he's got a great drafting partner just behind him, Ricky Rudd in 3rd spot. Look back in the field, though. They're side by side going down the back straightaway. See Rusty Wallace there in the 2 car on the inside. Now we have a shuffle up near the front.
Ricky Rudd has come to 2nd place. And on the inside, the 36 of Schrader. Upper left, you see our scoring rundown. That green box indicates a driver who has gained a position in the last lap. The red box next to the position, like Kenny Irwin there, indicates a driver who's lost a spot in the last lap.
And Tony Stewart's hooked up with his drafting partner again, Bobby Labonte, as they go through the tri-oval and down towards turn 1. You can see it's quite crowded, 190 miles an hour plus.
Stewart looking to get in line, no room. Maybe behind Mike Skinner, unless that hole closes up, and it does with the 2 of Rusty Wallace.
Well, Rusty Wallace has made a nice move coming up from the back of the pack, getting up there among the front runners.
Yeah, and they say don't go in the middle part of this draft. That has been an unfavorable thing as they gang up on him. Watch him slide back now. He does not have anybody directly behind him. Kevin LePage in the 16 may help him keep up, but right now he's dropping position.
Rusty Wallace had come up to 5th place briefly. He was trying to, like toothpaste, to get squeezed out of that tube of cars either side, and it didn't quite work. He's got shuffled back.
Mike, I get nervous when I see him jostling around like this. They're 3 and 4 wide down the front straightaway heading into turn 1. You just keep waiting on somebody to get over that invisible line there and create a problem.
Yesterday, Fords dominated qualifying for the Daytona 500, but right now, there are only 2 of those Fords in the front 6 positions after 6 laps.
I think the question is all about Dale Jarrett. Jeff Burton, what about it? He's lying dead last. Is he waiting for that mandatory pit stop?
What happens is everybody gets bottled up, and everybody can run at the same speed as everybody else as long as you're all running together. That's what drafting's all about. He just hasn't found a groove that he needs to go in and try to find a fast lane. You can see the 22 car there, the 18 car. You know all those cars are fast. There's just sometimes there's nowhere to go. You just have to sit there and wait for a hole to open.
And they're 3 laps away from that mandatory pit stop. Let's get back with Mike Joy.
Well, Sterling Marlin has now pushed his way toward the front up to 2nd place. Up there behind Jeff Gordon.
And also keep your eye on that 2 car of Rusty Wallace. He's now bidding for 3rd place right now down the back straightaway, and he has Kenny Schrader. They're great friends off the racetrack, and they're working very well together right now.
Well, folks, this is 15 cars, a third of what we'll see next Sunday in the Daytona 500. There'll be 43 cars in that race, so you can imagine what kind of a traffic jam it'll be.
Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, I'm with Todd Parrott, the crew chief for Dale Jarrett. He's just waiting for his car to come by. He watches as he goes past. Todd, is there a reason why you're not coming to the front right now, or are you just waiting for the opportunity?
Just waiting for the right opportunity. Just being patient, seeing where we're at. No sense of getting a big hurry, and just see what happens. This is a good race car we got, and still got 2 more races to run before or 1 more big race before the 500. So we don't have a whole lot of cars, so just told him to be smart.
Mike, they seem pretty confident down here right now.
Well, Jeff Gordon just went all the way downtown, almost off the bottom of the racetrack. Sterling Marlin, though, stayed right on his rear bumper, and they edge Mike Skinner for the lead.
And Mike Skinner looks to have a little more horsepower right now than Jeff Gordon. Nobody else has led this race since the green flag came out, and you see Gordon right now. He does not want to give that lead up.
Marlin to the inside, all the way down to the yellow line. Schrader with him, Gordon down to block. The whole top lane's open for Skinner. In the top lane, Skinner, Rudd, Stewart, that bright orange car, Rusty Wallace, the man in the middle.
Oh, don't go up.
Like he just sort of drove up in that position.
Jeff Burton, it looks up in front as if there's as much defensive driving as there is offensive driving out there.
You use your mirrors at Daytona more than anywhere else. Probably you spend as much time looking in the rearview mirrors as you do the windshield. When a guy makes a move behind you, you've got to block him or the whole train's going to go by you. But the really big part of the race is coming up right now. Getting on and off the pit road is really big, and you can see 2 cars stayed out and the rest came in.
Bobby Labonte and Dale Jarrett stayed out. Here's the rush onto pit road, and they are 3 wide as they come in.
And I think that's the reason those 2 cars stayed out there. They didn't want to get bunched in all of that. Some of those cars lost some very valuable time just trying to get into their pit position.
Oh!
Martin didn't get stopped, had run it over.
Dick Berggren.
And Gordon, a good pit stop so far. Everything is going well for Gordon. He has almost nailed his front tire changer. He is going to be the first one out of the pit.
Mark Martin did nail his front tire changer, and the man who was knocked down, Mark Martin has limped across back over the wall. Apparently not badly hurt, as you see there behind the pit wall. That may have been either the front tire carrier, Dennis Ritchie, or the front tire changer, Robert Benfield.
Well, here comes Labonte and Jarrett in now as the others get their speed up.
Well, they certainly have a clear pit road to work with, Ned. Ralph Shaheen.
Dale Jarrett's in his pit. Barry Muse has the car up with 1 pump of the jack. They are done and away as they change those right side tires, and Dale Jarrett storms back out.
7.9 second stop as Bobby Labonte's crew finishes work. Well, Jarrett's going to have a little edge, but they may be able to hook up together. Rest of the field comes off turn 4 under green. And they're 3 wide again for the lead. This time, give it to Sterling Marlin with Kenny Irwin in second.
Well, let's see if Jarrett and Labonte will be able to hook onto the draft. They're way out in front of the leaders, but the leaders are running about 190 miles an hour now, and they're running less than 100 as they came out of the pits. I think the leaders will blow right by them.
Mark Martin's car has been pushed to the garage, taken out of this race. Let's show you what happened again. Look in the middle of the screen as number 6, Mark Martin, comes onto pit road. There's Martin. Keep an eye on that white Valvoline Ford.
There he goes, right up on the windshield. You see, he didn't make it around in front of the car. It was knocked up on the windshield, falls down in front of the car there.
Dick Berggren.
Mike Jarrett, the jackman on Mark Martin's car, is here sitting on the toolbox. He has injured his right ankle, apparently struck on that pit stop. You okay, Mike?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, he says he's okay. He's got a smile. We'll probably see him back out for the Daytona 500. Mike?
Okay, we see here, Mike, that Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte didn't go all the way to the back of that pack. Several of the lead cars passed them as they had that momentum going, but they are right in the thick of the battle.
Mike Skinner has gone to the garage area. There's our Lowe's in-car camera as Stewart takes it home. 2 cars out of this race, Martin and Stewart.
Here comes Ricky Rudd on the bottom, take over second spot down the front straightaway. He's in that lead draft now. He's exactly where he wants to be. His teammate right behind him, Dale Jarrett.
Halfway point of this race.
Kenny Irwin right behind them. And that 42 car with that blue half green paint job. And here comes Schrader up the outside in that yellow number 36. Side by side, though, are they letting the 3 leaders get away?
Right now, that is not helping them because the front 3 are running nose to tail down the back straightaway. 2 cars side by side like that just make a tremendous hole in the air, and it's like drag on both sides of the car. So they're really losing a lot to these guys that are, you can see it's about 20 car lengths up to the lead bunch right now because they are running nose to tail.
The pack is now split into 3 groups. Marlin, Rudd, and Jarrett at the front. Schrader leading the second pack of 7 cars and then 3 behind. Here's our Fritos onboard telemetry with that white Ford, number 16, Kevin LePage, on the outside of Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte.
They need to stop this right now and maybe get nose to tail and try to catch the group because they're losing valuable time right now. Everybody else is single file in front of them.
I think they listened to you, buddy. They all got out in single file right there and said, that man knows what he's talking about. We better listen. And as a result, now Schrader has been able to catch up to that threesome that looked like they were going to pull away.
That's Schrader in the yellow car there that has really pulled up. Number 36, he's changed cars. I know everybody last year is familiar seeing him in the 33, but this year he's moved to the M&M car and the number 36 car.
He had a sticker on the back of the car yesterday that said, keep back, new driver.
Yeah, it's right on the left rear corner back there. It's a very funny sign because I'll guarantee you the drivers don't pay any attention to it.
Jeff Gordon's not right now. Marlin at the front, Rudd in second, third is Jarrett. Schrader is 4th, Gordon is 5th.
And they are beginning to pull away a little bit from that 6th place car of Rusty Wallace.
There's Wallace on the left side of your screen, number 2, not getting enough drafting help from Bobby Labonte to push him up toward that front pack. Not yet.
Bobby has picked up a lot on him the last lap, Mike, and he's gaining on him. I think that when they get to the start-finish line, he will be of help then.
Single file at 16 laps. 9 to go.
Wow, that first 5 bunch right there, there's some very good talent as far as getting around Daytona. Just starting with Sterling Marlin, past winner. You look back in the 28, Ricky Rudd. Everybody considers him one of the best. And, of course, 2-time winner in 3rd place right now, Dale Jarrett.
Don't count Sterling Marlin out. He says this is his favorite track. He's a former winner here.
2-time Daytona 500 winner.
Schrader's not real bad here either. He's always up near the front as long as his car's working, so I wouldn't count any of that bunch out.
Buddy, I know how much you loved to lead, but if you're Ricky Rudd, when do you make your move?
I'd be concerned whether I could make a move or not. I'd try him a little bit, see if I could get up to the door handle at least. If you get there, you ought to be able to pass.
Dick Berggren.
Radio from Jeff Gordon's crew. They just heard from Ken Schrader that the 28 and 88 are going to gang up and try to get that leader. They've told Gordon, go with Schrader. Strategy's unfolding now, Mike.
Well, that would leave Sterling Marlin on the front of this pack all alone.
You know what I'm thrilled about? This answers the question. It's not going to be just a Ford showdown here. There's a lot of good race cars out there. There's Chevrolets, Pontiacs, and Ford in that front group. So look for this 500 to be one of the best ever.
Rusty Wallace now has Bobby Labonte right with him. And those two cars together may be able to track down this lead train of 5, but that front pack is running so fast, that's going to be a tall order.
Yes, it is, Mike. As a matter of fact, they're pulling away a little bit now from Rusty Wallace and Bobby Labonte because they have run 5 together up there in single file, and they just continue pulling away.
Here's our wrenchhead.com telemetry on board Joe Nemechek.
Running about 65, 6,600 RPMs at 188, almost 200 miles an hour. Got a burst there down the backstretch, didn't he?
Let me explain to the people at home why they don't see the 8,000, 9,000 RPMs that they're used to seeing. These cars have a restrictor plate, which is, it cuts down on the amount of fuel and air that goes into the motor, and it runs out of power about 7,000 RPM. So when you see 6,800, that's maximum horsepower for a plate motor.
It would be like you trying to run a 100-yard dash breathing through a straw. You just can't get enough air in that engine.
You got it.
For it to do everything it's designed to do. And they are limited in that way to keep the speeds down at a reasonable level. Although nobody that commutes in a car to work would call 190 miles an hour reasonable.
There's Rusty Wallace and Bobby Labonte still running in a draft, trying to catch up to that back group, but they're not making much progress. Got a couple of cars coming up behind them now. They're going to have 5 cars in their group there in a moment. Now maybe that will help.
Tony Stewart and Kevin LePage have tacked on to that draft. There are the leaders. 5 cars to decide it. Now a Chevy leading 2 Fords leading a Pontiac and a Chevy.
Well, I got to tell you right now, I'm not going to pick a winner for sure, but if I was in second place right now with my teammate directly behind me, if I was Sterling Marlin, I would be thinking, I got to find a way to run that last lap where they can't gang up on me. Take the inside groove as much as possible and run that mirror.
Well, one thing's for certain, the leader has no friends. Ralph?
Mike McSwain is a crew chief for Ricky Rudd. Mike, is there going to be a lap number that you've already chosen when Ricky and Dale Jarrett will hook up together to go to the front?
Yeah, there's a lap number.
Want to tell me what it is?
Won't be too long.
No, you're not going to tell me what it is?
I'll tell you later.
Right after it happens.
As they cross the stripe, there will be just 4 laps to go. In the second pack, Bobby Labonte moves past Rusty Wallace. Little slingshot there, you see.
And Tony Stewart goes with him. Rusty's out there right by himself. They should go right on by him.
2 Pontiacs team up in that battle for 6th place. And at the front, no change. Rudd and Jarrett just half a car length apart. And they have gained about 2 car lengths on Kenny Schrader and Jeff Gordon.
You wonder if that might be by design, that Schrader might have backed off just a little bit to see if he could get a run going into turn 3, and he picked right back up on him. So he might be playing with him a little bit, just testing it out.
And then it looks like Dale Jarrett has backed up a little bit on Ricky Rudd, perhaps for the same reason. As they come down, it'll be just 3 laps to go. Nearly $600,000 at stake in this 22nd Bud Shootout. 4 times this race has been decided by a last lap pass. Ralph?
Mike, we're hearing on the radio they're talking about with lap 2 that they're looking for these 2 to go after it. So keep an eye on Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett around lap number 2, teaming up and going to the front.
Now, you would say, why lap 2 to go instead of last lap? The reason you do that, if you fail, you still have another lap to try something else.
Jarrett has a look on the outside of Rudd. Teammates side by side. Right behind them, Schrader is going to smell money.
Well, hey, is this going to foul up the strategy that they planned so well?
Whoa, man, and Jeff Gordon way up high there trying to get by Schrader. This is a whole different ball game now.
And Sterling Marlin's looking in his mirror saying, oh, I love this.
Oh, loving every minute of it.
Yes.
The one thing he didn't do, though, I would have moved up and tried to give them both a little bit of draft, and nobody. Look at Jeff Gordon on the bottom making a move now.
Here they all come. And Marlin comes down to the bottom.
Oh boy,
that lane.
2 Chevrolets in front, 2 Fords running side by side. This isn't by design.
The game has changed, and the 2 Fords are still side by side. Marlin and Gordon and Chevy side by side. Rudd and Jarrett in Fords. The Pontiac of Schrader trying to pick a dancing partner.
Well, Rudd's got the lower side. Jarrett hung up there right by himself right now. I don't think he can make a move if he wanted to.
Sterling Marlin, a car length in front of Jeff Gordon. Now they'll have to pair off because now the white flag's in the wind. There's just 1 lap to go.
And Bobby Labonte has caught them. He came from way back in the last 2 laps. He gets up on Dale Jarrett's back bumper.
Our Circuit City onboard camera rides with Bobby Labonte as he closes up on Dale Jarrett. Now there's Schrader, the yellow car to the inside.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you what, this back straightaway, as they go down the back straightaway, they're heading that way. Here comes Gordon on the inside.
Jeff Gordon in the slipstream of Sterling Marlin, and up the outside comes Dale Jarrett.
Oh, they touched on the back straightaway. Marlin in the middle there, and here comes the 88 car, Dale Jarrett.
And the 28 of Ricky Rudd comes low, trying to sniff a draft off of Gordon. Jarrett to the outside. All that skirmishing left a clear path for Jarrett on the outside.
Oh, trouble!
Rudd in the wall, hard. Schrader in the wall, hard. Jarrett the winner, Gordon second, and Rudd on his roof for the second time in the Bud Shootout, reminiscent of 1984 when his car tumbled in the air. Ricky Rudd, Bobby Labonte wrecked on the final lap. Ken Schrader wrecked.
Wow. That was some action.
In his first ride for Robert Yates yesterday, Ricky Rudd claimed the outside pole for the Daytona 500. Today, he goes flying upside down. Movement in the car as the safety crews reach Ricky Rudd. That's good news. Remember in '84, he crashed in the Busch Clash much like this. Came back the next week to finish 7th in the Daytona 500, and the very next week won at Richmond. He is one tough customer.
Yeah, and he just waved to the crowd there. I tell you, that was none of his doing there, that wreck as it started out. He was just in the wrong place. If you see him waving to the crowd, that means he's okay. But he has to go to the hospital. That's mandatory when you get upside down or have a wreck at Daytona. And he got a break when he got upside down also. He didn't get in the grass and dig in and start turning end over end.
Bobby Labonte comes jogging back from his wrecked car through the infield grass. Looks like Bobby's going to run all the way to the ambulance. Spoiler check for Dale Jarrett by the NASCAR officials. There's Bobby Labonte. He is okay. But one of Joe Gibbs' cars is pretty well torn up. A wild finish to the first wheel-to-wheel Winston Cup action of Speed Weeks. But Dale Jarrett wins the hooligan race, the Bud Shootout qualifier, and now wins the shootout itself. There's Bobby Labonte's crashed car. Gonna have to lift the hood to hook up the record to it. And there is the fastest Ford in Florida.
Well, I got to tell you something. I thought he had made a huge mistake when he got on the outside there because he had nobody drafting with him. And then all of a sudden it looked like somebody opened the gate at the corral. Everybody went on up high, and that just moved him right ahead.
Well, when Jeff Gordon got up beside of Sterling Marlin, I mean, that opened up a big hole of air for him to get some momentum going. You wonder if when he made the pass on, or tried to make the pass on Rudd, if maybe that was the planned move, that he's going to go to the outside and he had the momentum going, and I don't know what the situation would have been. It was a little strange that they would have made that move.
Well, let's see, Ned. Let's watch him come off turn 4 for the final time. That's Rudd on the bottom in the black car.
Bobby Labonte in the green car on the outside gets touched right there. You see him get crossed up and across into Rudd, turns him sideways. See Sterling Marlin, he makes evasive action there. He was also involved in that.
And all three drivers are now just passengers.
Here it is again. Looks like the 40 car got into the 18 maybe a little bit and shot him towards the wall.
And the two drivers who got the worst of it, Ned, Rudd, and Schrader, had no place to go. Weren't even part of the start of it.
Yes.
Now, you could see the car of Sterling Marlin moving up the racetrack. A lot of times you'll get an arrow push off that corner up there. I'm sure he didn't mean to touch Bobby Labonte, but when he touched him, that just started the whole series. And of course, Ricky, he was just along for the ride once he got touched.
These Winston Cup cars have several hundred feet of steel tubing in them. Here's what Ricky Rudd saw.
Thank you for the booth.
Tony Stewart. Wow. Through a cloud of smoke and on to the finish. So Dale Jarrett has won the Bud Shootout. We'll be back to Daytona International Speedway after this. The 22nd annual Bud Shootout at Daytona, won by Dale Jarrett. 4 different drivers led. There were 4 lead changes. Average speed is not a record at 182.334 miles per hour. And the race went green to checker. Coming up next, CBS Sports rolls out NCAA hoops. Syracuse you'll see against UCLA or Indiana versus Michigan. Check your local listings. Now let's go to Daytona Victory Lane and Ken Squire.
And in Victory Lane, the man who has come from furthest back, tying the mark of 15th position to start. Here is Dale Jarrett clambering out with his second victory here in this Bud Shootout. Congratulations. Tell us about that as he shakes hands with Todd Parrott. Tell us about that last lap and the strategy. A lot of folks didn't think that was going to hold up.
I wasn't sure of the strategy. The last few laps were pretty exciting, and I just got a run there with about 3 to go, and I wanted to help Ricky get past the 40 car, but it didn't seem like we could get much going there, and so I saw Schrader laying back, and I knew he had Gordon helping him, so I tried to lay back with him, and I got myself a run, and I said, this might be my last chance, so I went ahead to the outside. My car was freer this time, which we freed it up, and I thought it would go around the outside pretty good by what I'd seen earlier, and so but we got side by side, and then Gordon made his move, and the best thing that happened was the 18 car came and gave me a push, and hadn't it been for that, for Bobby Labonte catching us and giving me that push, and then the 24 got underneath the 40, and that kind of slowed them down a second. I said, hey, they're going to give me a chance here, and as we went down the backstretch, I got a lot of momentum going into 3, and great race car, and I had a really good angle and was able to get down in front of Gordon.
You've got a lot of momentum going to the Daytona 500. Congratulations, Dale.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just glad those guys are okay, but appreciate it. Hi, Kelly and kids. Can't wait to see you tonight.
And let's get topside with Mike Joy.
Robert Yates ends up with 1 car in Victory Lane and 1 car demolished. Tonight on CBS, the forbidden romance between Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings. It's never been told until now. A world premiere miniseries event, Sally Hemings, An American Scandal, tonight on CBS. We'll be back to Daytona International Speedway after this. Welcome back to the Bud Shootout, part of Speed Weeks 2000 at Daytona, presented by Fritos. Coming up later at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, play continues at the Buick Invitational. The CBS Sports Golf Team brings you live final round coverage from Torrey Pines, where Phil Mickelson holds a 2-stroke lead. Let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Ricky just walked out of the infield care center. Are you okay? And what happened out there, Ricky?
Well, to answer your question, yeah, I'm okay. And what happened, I don't have an answer for that one. We were sitting really good, sitting second, right where I wanted to be, and we were going to make a move with 3 laps to go, and all of a sudden Sterling got a little jammed up over there coming off of 2. Something happened. His car didn't look just right, so I went ahead and made a move a lap early. When I did that, Schrader was right behind Dale Jarrett, and things didn't work out like I expected. Next thing you know, I got shuffled back a little bit. But coming off of 4, I couldn't tell exactly what happened, but somebody started checking up. They got 3 wide. Somebody started checking up, and I was sitting around 4th at that time. And really saw it. I sort of squirted through that hole there, and I was going to end up about 2nd or 3rd. and was just getting ready to, man, I made it through there, and started relaxing. Next thing I know, I'm sideways in the fence. Somebody got into me from behind. I don't know exactly who it was. I don't know how it happened, but next thing I know, I'm upside down.
Mike?
So Ricky Rudd is okay after his second horrible crash in the Bud Shootout. There are your first four: LePage, Schrader, Wallace, and Nemechek, and the rest of the field of the Busch Clash. We'll be back next Saturday with the Napa 300 and the Gatorade 125s, and next Sunday, the Daytona 500.